I didn't even know there's something really like that. Eh?
I don't know foot and mouth.
We
just don't know the symptoms. I never knew about the symptoms.
And the worst is,
what is it? Yeah, oh no, not about foot and mouth. And that's like an old and lazy, old and lazy, but yeah.
Well, it normally just happens to animals. Yeah, but you never know what they could have orchestrated for it to transpose over to humans. So I'm assuming it's that actually happened. Okay, so we're going to start the urban survival. This section is predominantly for when you are stuck or stranded in your home. You don't have access to, for example, if there was a grid collapse. So now nothing's working. There's no stuff in the shops. You can't pump petrol because there's no electricity to pump petrol. There's no electricity to pump water. So your sewage is affected. Nothing is coming out of your taps. So what do? How do you survive? You can't get to a shop. You can only live with what you have around you. So I'm just going to cover the different aspects of things that will affect you and that you need to look at and consider. And then I'm going to do 1 or 2 experiments under almost each section. Okay, so in the herbal survival series, because I'm calling it a series because each of these components are big components on its own, and each one is a series on its own. So there's heat, everything to do with heat and cooking, and how do you do that? There's water, everything to do with water, from harvesting to trying to make your own water and so forth. Then the food component, which encapsulates growing food, etc. The equipment, making your own equipment if needs be. Cold storage, how do you keep your food cold and so forth. Sewage, which will be a big problem. How to handle that. Security, I don't know much about this, but I know it's an issue because, you know, because we know when it's dark, then the criminals come out because your alarms is not working, nothing's working, how do you defend yourself? Toiletries, how to make your own toiletries, medicine. You're going to need that because people get sick all the time. And then obviously you need to have a bug out bag should you have to flee for whatever reason. Because you never know. The EFS might come and you know, march down you or reclaim your land or something. You just never know. So be prepared for any eventuality. Okay, so heat. The different areas to cover with heat is tin stoves, which is basically these things. Fire lighters, which is like briquettes and so forth to spark the fires. Candle wicks, how to make that. Oil burners is also like acting as a fire lighter type of thing. Solar ovens, vegetable electricity, ash, and terracotta pot heaters. So the stoves. You get the body stove, and these are just basically, I'm not going to go into it, it's going to be too long. So basically it's just what you need to make these actual implements. For most of them you're just going to need tin cans and cardboard and so forth, but it's more about knowing how it works and how to construct it. So there's several stoves. You get a body stove, a rocket stove. I think most people know about a rocket stove. That is basically where you have funnels. So you have your main funnel, and then you have a funnel going like that that's split in two. So the one part is where the air comes in, and the other part is where you feed it with the fire and so forth, and then the heat is the other part. It's the general concept of a rocket stove. You can build one using bricks, you can make one in the ground. And you can make one using tins and so forth. You get the hobo stove, which is also tins. It's all about the different ways to cut and poke the tins and so forth. You get the mini gasifier, you get the Dakota stove. So the Dakota stove is when you are outside in the wild. So this is a fireless fire in terms of it doesn't make smoke. So this is also for security reasons. You don't want to alert people to where you are. So you would dig a hole in the ground, and you would dig another hole on the side where the air will come in, and another hole on the like venting, to stoke the fire itself, but also to take the smoke away. So the fire will be underground, but the air will feed the fire, and then you will put your pot or whatever on there, and that is basically how you can do that. Then you get the T-slit stove, and then you get an emergency heater type of thing. So basically, the emergency heater is where you just take a roll of toilet paper, douse it in, I was going to say sanitizer, but when I was testing out the experiments, my 70% alcohol sanitizer was probably 5% alcohol. So it didn't work. It's water. Yeah, so that kind of threw those plans out. So you need to also now have a backup plan. If the one doesn't work, you need to know the other. So the reason why I feel we need to cover various types of things is because what you have in your house, I might not have in my house. And what works for you might not work for me. Maybe it's easy for you to assemble that type and you have those things. For me, something else might be easier. So it all depends on what you have at hand as well. That's why you need to know the different things, the different avenues at your disposal, so that you don't feel suffocated and you want to go crazy because what are you going to do now? There is a plan B. The Holy Spirit gives calm. We don't need to panic, nothing. God gives us wisdom, and so we need to just know how to use and apply it properly. And not panic. Okay? So, I'm just going to show you here quickly. No, I'll come back to the stoves because I think we must do the stoves outside. Okay, so this is just basically showing you how to assemble the different types. So the gasifier is this little one. It's two cans that I cut up, and then the one you put into the other with a smaller bottom on the inside. So it's two bottoms, a bigger and a smaller one. And the fumes. The smaller one is where you put your alcohol or whatever you're going to use, because this will act as a mini gas stove. And then you cut the slit in there and you put in holes here for the air. And then you put that in.
Sure.
There. So then we'll see outside when you light it, it will be like a little mini gas stove. So that's what you can do.
Sure.
Here. And as you can see, the Coke bottles, that is just explaining how I cut it up. Sorry, there's thinners on this. Smell, sorry.
It's not
baby.
meant to drink Coke, it's just a Coke.
Yeah, so correct. You don't have to drink it. You can ask your neighbors, look, give your used cans to me. I will collect it. You will probably need it one day too, so you can do that type of thing also. And you can use simple implements like pocket knives, or I used a tin opener and a scissor.
How did you get the holes in there?
And a cutter. So I used a cutter to make those holes. And I basically just used a cutter for that whole thing. Cut it. And then put the holes in with a cutter. Show you. I like this. And I use for that. All of the tin stuff I use the cutter actually. It's easier. Then this one is called the body stove. So what you do is you cut out this rectangle and you make these holes. I use the tin opener just to punch these holes in, because this is for the ventilation to feed the fire. Then to make this, you use a tuna can, and you take pieces of cardboard and you roll it up.
Wow.
And you put it in here. You can then either douse it with old oil. So keep your old oil also, because it can also be used as a candle.
What happened? Oh,
Cooking.
oh, cooking. Okay.
Yeah. And then and your candles. Also, I threw some candle wicks. I melted down a candle and I threw some over there, just to act as flints.
Yes.
Just get it started. And then also your nail polish swabs when you are cleaning your nail polish, because the nail polish remover it's got alcohol. You can use that also. But then just dip that in, depending on how old it is. Just also dip it in some wax, some candle wax, and then those can also act as flints. And then you light it, and then you put this over. It gets super hot. Like this will act as the plate, and you put your pot or whatever on here, and you can cook. And it heats up a sufficient area that you can really cook in that way.
But you say there's a galley blood present.
Yeah, but it's, there's different ways. So you can see the pot over there is on something like this. Also depending on the size of the tin that you have. So baby formula tins, don't throw it away, because you can use it. And then this just basically shows how to make the actual fire lighter.
Sure.
Okay, so then this is another one. Again, it's just a normal tin that you cut strips in, and then you open it up, and then you put a little foil, and then you can put the coals in the middle of this thing here. You can put it there. Or if you don't put this on, if you take this off, you can put this in the middle with fire lighters in here, whether it's that or whatever you want to use, dry sticks or whatever, you can do that. So it depends on you and what you have available.
Sure.
And then you can put the pan, as you see in the picture, you can grill, put the grill on, whatever you want to do.
Very present.
So you can use a simple thing just to fry, basically. And then this is the Dakota hole that I spoke about, where you have the fire underground, and then you have your hole that brings in the air so that it pumps the fire, makes it hotter, but it also takes away the smoke. So that is how that works. And then that's a little, and then that's a rocket stove, which I spoke about. So it's got one funnel, and then it's got another area, and that bottom funnel is divided into two. The top part you feed with your sticks and whatever that you're gonna make a fire with, and the bottom part is for the air ventilation flow, because the air is very important to stoke the fire and so on. And then this is just a small mini solar oven. So you basically just have to have something that reflects light. And foil is the best thing to reflect light. You can make it as big as you want. You can use boxes. You can use old, whatever you can find, as long as it has a box shape. Use it. Get your reflectors or even mirrors or whatever you can that's going to reflect. Old CD players, CDs, or anything that reflects the sun, because this basically is just to reflect the sun, but you need to cover it because you want to keep the heat in as much as possible to cook the thing on the inside.
Sure.
And so this must now reflect the sun into here, and whatever you're going to have will be in here, depending on the size of this thing and what you're going to make, and then you will cook your thing in the sun.
Sure.
So you don't need any fire there, only the sun.
Only the sun.
A very nice one would be a DST, old DSTV skoto. Because the dish, why? Because when you put it on foil on it, that thing is designed to concentrate all the energy to the center point. So you'll have that whole dish and everything's pointed to that center point.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of heat that's being
And
generated.
you can put a poche over it.
Yes, on that central piece.
So it's just about understanding the concept of how it works, and then seeing what you have around you that could then mimic make the concept. And like you say, use that type of thing or anything that you think can reflect or will help in that way. Then that was now just how to make the solar oven. So the fire lighters, the different things that you can use to make fire lighters is you can use old egg cartons. You can tear the carton thingies up as well, and soak it either in thinners, something flammable, or old oil, or your candle wax. But try to get candle wax in there as much as possible just to kickstart that fire process, and then whatever else you used will then continue the fire. And then egg cartons you can also use like flint. So if you have a means to take off, you know, the pebbles, the pearling on jerseys and stuff like that. Even if it's a razor, but you get a little machine that a bubble machine, I think they call it, where you take off all this flint or whatever. Now that little flint, that little pieces of bubbles, use that, put it in the egg carton. That can also be good fire starters. I mentioned before your cotton swabs of your nail polish. So what I did like this, and then you just maybe soak it in some, or pour some candle wax over it. So try and keep whatever you use so that you can reuse it. Find ways to think out of the box of how can I maybe use this in an emergency or something. Yes, you might have a lot of things, like clutter, but find an organizational system, you know, to keep everything in place, but you're still going to be gathering things. Because you're going to need it, and whatever you don't use, you can share with people.
Because most of us, we do clutter, you know, but we must do good clutter.
Clutter the right way.
Clutter the right way.
Okay, so then toilet roll holders, what you can do is, if you take it, and I didn't bring a toilet roll holder, but the toilet roll holder, you can then fill it with little chafing sticks, little things like that, and then also just pour some candle wax over it. That will also act as a flint starter. Corkscrews, you can soak it in alcohol or thinners or anything flammable and use that as a starter.
Sure.
And then obviously your normal feathering the stick, so you just take a branch and you do this for the shavings, and you make little shavings, and then you start the fire. So something like that, those shavings or whatever, you can throw on this just to kick start and get the fire going until it catches on in the whole thing. But the thing with the cardboard is that you must try and use cardboard that doesn't have that
second layer.
Yeah, that coloring, that shiny part, because that the glossy things.
So the old school brown.
You mean like
this,
rust?
like this, some cardboard has.
the future light box or stuff
Yes,
like that?
yes. So try and pull that top layer off before you use it, because it will deter the fire a lot. And you want it to start as quickly as possible. And
So
as
Kellogg's
flammable
box
as
is
possible.
Kellogg's box, yeah, because the whole box is reflective, like you say.
Well, you can, once the fire started, you can then add it as fuel. But to start it, don't try and steer away from those toppings, because that deters it. So these are then just pictures of what I just spoke about. The egg cartons, how you can make little egg start little flint egg cartons. You can put cotton wool in there also and soak it with old oil, and then just cut those pods off and use those as fire starters. You can also use facial swabs and soak it in your candle wax, also as fire starters. Then there's the alcohol corks, the alcohol soaked cork. Now fire bricks. This you make with
Fire bricks.
Yeah, like it's called briquettes, man.
Okay.
So you basically just soak paper, but again, not the shiny paper. So you soak the paper for about a week, and you mash it like to make paper mache.
Okay.
And then once it's soft and mushy and whatever, then you put it in something that will compress it. I think guys will know when you this corner stuff, man. You are putting the sealer,
The sealer,
the
The gun.
gun thing, yeah.
Okay.
So that must compress.
Glue gun basically.
Yeah, but it must compresses the thing that you put in there.
You're
So
talking
you-
about the silicon gun.
Yeah.
Something.
Silicon
That thing.
Okay.
Okay.
The tubing, because the gun is open.
No, the gun. Because you're gonna put this paper mache in the gun and then squeeze it, and the gun is gonna compress the paper mache.
It's the tube. The
Is
gun
it
is
tube?
not closed. The
It's
gun
in the
is
tube,
open.
yeah, it's in the
What?
tube.
However
Yeah.
it works,
I
but
understand.
that thing.
I understand the
Yeah,
procedure.
that.
But when the tube is empty, you can use the tube.
You can just
Yes.
cut off the top of the
That
tube.
thing?
Yeah, it's actually okay.
That thing.
Really, you can see, I don't know a lot about that, because
Just
not
remember
right.
the thing.
But the thing is, you put that tube in, and the compression is what you need.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Whatever you're gonna use
Thank
to
you,
compress.
You can use a tin also and just
Yeah.
Yeah, but you want to use something that's
So
gonna
that you
squeeze
squeeze
out as
the
much
juice.
moisture as
Yeah,
possible.
100%.
Yeah, because the thing is, you need to have like a solid rock
if you
type
take
thing.
Yeah.
if you don't have that tubing, if you have a tin, I'm just thinking, you know, make a hole at the bottom and you just squeeze.
You need a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure.
To make it rock hard, yeah.
Yes.
I understand what you're trying to say.
Standing.
I understand.
And then you just let it stand in the sun for a few hours or something until it's like really
Or
hot.
Make a little bumpy.
Yeah.
Cardboard bumpy you call it.
Or someone that is just very heavy must just stamp on it. Jump on it.
Yeah, we'll come to you.
What about using like a you know a lamboon, but called lamboon saki, ne? And then you just squeeze it.
Squeeze it.
No,
Yeah,
because
squeeze it
it's too
around.
aerated.
Oh.
No, but I'm
There's
just
too many holes,
to
so-
squeeze the
To make it
But you're not gonna,
Put out.
yeah, you need to get something that will squeeze as much
Oh, the
as
cheesecloth.
out as possible.
The
So,
cheesecloth that you use for
Cheesecloth maybe, yeah. Not
making
no, they're still gonna.
we
It will
use
take
that to
long.
make the
It takes very long.
what's the name?
But you can try it at home
The
and
grape
see.
juice.
Yeah.
And then the
Yes,
next time we
I
can.
use that.
Yes. Try it at home and see what works for you, because what works for me might not work for you. What works for you might not work for me. So if that works for you, then great.
so you
But
soak
the
it only
point-
water.
Yes, only water.
Oh, I understand.
The point is you want to get all that moisture out and dry it till it's like rock hard. And then, because that thing lights up very quickly. Okay. So that I just basically explained that. You can also use your dry herbs and twigs from your garden. You just collect it and keep it in a place, and then you just use that as a
For old
light.
tea bags.
Yes.
For tea bags, you can also soak most of the stuff. Even further. You can go.
Yeah, but I would say keep your tea bags more for your garden, because tea bags can also fertilize, depending on the type of tea bag,
Oh,
but it can also help with building your soil.
okay.
Okay, that just basically explains what I just said now about the compression. Okay, so oil burners. You can use your old oil. So store your old oil, because you can then use it as a candle. It's called a 100-hour candle. So if you, for example, put it in a mason jar with a wick, it can then burn for very long until all it is done. So it's about clever ways of reusing things. And
If
then,
you refer to oil, you car oil or
no, not car oil,
fish oil.
fish oil.
Yeah, we do actually. My brother We actually used it to on the fire, you know, yeah.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, oh, you know, sunflower oil.
So that thing,
After when it's
I
cooked,
didn't have
of the pot, when you throw it in a small
to
jar or
open it,
something.
but that must be opened, and then you put this in there,
Okay.
and then you use it. You put your pot or whatever on top.
So you open the sides
Yes, yes.
and then you put that inside it.
Yeah, because the air must not come in. You see, you can also use it as a candle to heat up the area and so forth.
Okay, there we are. It's open.
But yeah, you can boil water, whatever.
With this, yeah.
Yo, that's powerful, eh? Such a small thing to boil
Just
water.
finding your fuel source.
Yes, the main aim is to get the fuel source consistent.
Yeah, maybe think of Panama. Yeah.
Okay, so you can use a potato or a lemon. You just need a nail, and you need a copper wire, and you need a copper coin. So then the nail you'll put in the one side, and the copper coin on the other side, and then you'll run the coil from the copper coin to the nail, and that should then produce energy. You can then put a light on it, and then it will light up. Because the lemon and the potato, so the copper in the lemon, and the aluminium and all of that, there will be a chemical reaction, and electrons will then be transposed and so forth, and that will create the energy.
Oh.
So you can literally create energy from lemons.
Must keep your
and
20 cents and 50
potatoes.
cents.
5 cents.
5
5
cents.
cents.
Yeah, 5 cents.
Yeah?
Don't take it anymore, keep it.
With the
Yeah, there's also a tree. I don't know if it's a banana tree, but one of the trees, they also have quite a bit of electrical current running through there.
Yes.
But you need to take the bark off, and then connect the copper and so forth to the under the bark. And then the terracotta pot, probably everybody knows this, but the terracotta pot can really heat.
No.
You can use a small little tea light candle. So you put two bricks down, and you put 2 bricks down and the tea light candle there, and then you put the pot upside down over it. This will then heat up the whole area. If you don't have, like in winter, you need to get warm. That is the quickest way to warm, because it heats up quite a big area. But it needs to be terracotta. And the size doesn't matter of the pot. But that also creates heat.
It's radiancy.
So that's basically how it looks. And how you create the
Potato
energy.
light bulb.
Yeah.
My word.
You can also create energy from water. What you need is, if you have a glass, say a plastic cup. So the one plastic cup you will cut out where it will just have this part, and then the other, and you put it in the bigger plastic cup, and you need a magnet, and you put the magnet in the water, and that produces
Water.
yes, that produces electricity. Then you just put a light bulb with
Sorry, just go back.
Yes, I just want that. I just want to get that. Can you go slow, just slow with that one? I just want to hear it again.
okay, so
We need to do practicals.
glass,
Okay.
and another glass, but preferably plastic, probably. Then you cut, because you're gonna use plastic because you want to cut the one and put it in, so that it keeps the magnet.
Oh.
So that it keeps the magnet stationary in that position, because the light bulb end needs to make contact with the magnet in the water.
So
So
putting
that
the light bulb in the water.
the edge.
The edge of it.
Yeah.
Right at the
Yes,
end.
it's touching. Yes, that
Touching the water.
edge there.
That sounds dangerous.
No, it's connecting with the magnet.
Wow.
So the magnet is conducting the electricity.
To the water.
Yes.
To the light bulb.
Yes.
Wow.
This is higher grade stuff, man.
That is so
Again,
cool.
you can
This is
find
so
that
cool.
there's something
Hey.
missing. There's something missing.
Huh?
Don't you remember?
Hey,
Primary school.
But I've never
There's
heard
something
this
you
one.
missing.
taught me
There's something
English that I
missing.
can
Because of magnet.
Oh.
So,
So-
it's a negative and
Is
a
that
positive.
fiction?
Yeah, you're right.
She's
You're right.
right,
You're right.
that's
Yeah,
how
you're right.
The plastic cup. And then you put the magnet at the bottom with water in it, right? And then you put the bulb just touching the surface of the water.
Yeah.
And then that will create electricity. And
Yeah, the light bulb will go on.
No. Just the magnet and the water and the light bulb. Nothing in between.
Crazy, eh?
But
Yes,
now,
there's a potato
just a
also.
question
Yeah.
with that. Just a question with that. If that was free energy like that, this is my question now. Obviously, somewhere energy is created and somewhere it's lost. So it's converted from magnetic energy into electrical energy. Now, would that cause your magnet to lose its power?
Because energy is transferred.
Yeah, exactly,
I hear
it's
what he's
transferred,
saying. I hear what he's
so-
saying. Yeah, it's
Because otherwise,
I think
we
it's
would have
more-
used these
I-
lights
I
in our
don't
house a
think-
long time ago, you know?
No, I think it's more just the conduit. It won't lose anything. It's just acting as a conduit.
You're saying
I would want to try.
this is small.
Yeah,
I want to try it.
it also.
With a small light bulb, I've got some.
I will send the video to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Please.
you can pass it on to
Yeah.
Is
You must.
be a guy that does the video.
No.
Because normally
Should I add in the
That doesn't really work. Right? That's
Potato
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the potato and the lemon works.
Yeah.
It does work.
Yeah, I want to do that.
Yo, I will never look at the Gatsby the same anymore.
Never look at the Gatsby the same.
Okay, so
Think about it.
water.
Tonight the potato makes you light. Tomorrow you eat it.
Yeah.
This is about capturing the water and creating environments that will create water. So to say.
Oh, that's good.
So, as we all know, the water purification one is the one that I spoke about previously, where you just distilling the dirty water that you already have using your charcoal and your stones and your sand and so forth as a filtration thingy. And there's different ways you can do that. So there's the normal way where you have your layers of your sand, your gravel, your charcoal, and then if you're going to use maybe a cheesecloth or whatever for that final filtration, but that's general way of how you filter dirty water. But then there's also one where you're in the wild and you just maybe have a plastic bottle and there's only dirty water. So what do? You then just use, and you don't have charcoal, then you just use like a piece of cloth and you use your sand, try to get both gravelly or stony sand and fine sand. But if you can't, you just put that mixture with the grass also, because grass also helps purify when you run through. And then you just throw your water through that. So that's like a survival method. But yeah, there's different methods to do that. Then obviously rain harvesting, probably everybody knows about that, where you set up, your pipes and the PVC pipes along the house. But yeah, your gutters and so forth, and you have your
Jojo tank.
Jojo tanks or your smaller tanks where you almost now collecting it and so forth. But then if you don't have that, there's different ways. So you can use a black bag and you put it from a high to a low, and then you just collect it in a tub or something. This is now for people that don't have money. And then whatever water will just sluice down into down the black bag into the
But the
tub.
black bag mustn't be from Chinatown then.
Look, you can't just yeah, try and get a thick.
The micro must be right.
Yeah.
The micron is important.
Micron, yeah.
And then transpiration. Transpiration is using your trees outside. mustn't be a poisonous leaf
Mm.
or poisonous tree, but you simply put a bag. So you take a bag and you make a small hole in the bag and you put a little stone where the hole is. And then you put it over branches with leaves on it and you tie it tightly and then you let the sun do its job. So the sun will then shine onto the leaves, and because it's enclosed and leaves must now breathe, and that is called transpiration. So they're letting of moisture and oxygen, and then the moisture will go along the sides of the packet and drip down to where the stone, because the stone is pulling the packet down, so the moisture will drip down to where the hole is, and then you put a little bottle or cup or something where the hole is, and that is how you can use the
word. I
plant
like that.
tree to
Cool.
Wow.
harvest your. That's now really emergency.
Emergency.
101.
And is that water would be drinkable at the time?
Yes, because, well, depending on how clean your plastic is, but yes, because it's pure oxygen
Oh, nice.
that is being released from the plant.
That's a good one.
Yo.
Then you have your solar cell, which is this. So you basically just take a bowl or whatever, and you put I don't know if you can see, there's a little
Bucket in the middle.
bucket in the middle. That's to capture the water. So it's the same concept with the transpiration. So you cover the thing with the plastic, and then you put this stone or any hard, like heavy thing, because what will happen and you put this in the sun. So now the sun will shine and transpiration will sort of happen on the inside, condensation will take place, and then it's called capillarization. So that is when it creeps along sides of something. So the water will form, the condensation will form, and it will creep along the sides of the plastic, and because this weight is pushing it down, it will channel the water into the cup, to drop into the cup. So that's also how you can make your own water. That's also drinkable.
There's
If
a hole
these
at the
things
bottom
are no,
Oh,
On
no,
the sides it will run down into the middle.
Yeah.
Like the
that's
water
cool.
from vapor.
From nothing.
yeah.
If you can say like vapor.
Yeah,
and
vapor,
forms
yeah.
in
In
it.
the air, basically. Like
Yeah,
it
but
sucks
it
out in
falls
the air.
down the plastic.
No, the heat from the sun.
The heat from the
creates
sun.
vapor.
Because it sweats, almost
Yes,
like
it sweats.
if you can say it sweats
Yeah.
because it's closed.
And then that's how you can make water out of nothing.
And then
Just-
somebody just drinks a drop of water.
My word.
But again, your utensils need to
Be clean.
be clean.
That's the first thing.
Yeah. But I mean, you can always, if you want to just make sure, you can always then put it through a filter or just add a little charcoal just to ensure that it's going to be drinkable.
So what sweets?
The plastic.
The plastic.
Plastic sweets.
Yes.
Yeah.
The moisture.
The
Moisture.
sun will
It's
cause
moisture.
the plastic to sweat. That will build up moisture, and that moisture will then travel
But
into
how?
the
So
bowl.
if it's coming from the plastic, is it healthy to
I was
drink?
going to ask that.
That's why I say you
To
need
survive.
to.
It's a survival.
Yeah, it's to
food, right?
survive.
Survival
Yeah.
I
food.
wouldn't recommend every day.
No.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
to
Just to take it
survive,
from
that
point
is-
A to
yeah.
point B.
Yes.
Until you get to the stream of living waters.
Yeah.
Or until you can collect enough and put it through a proper purification. Or just add a little charcoal just to ensure that
Yeah.
whatever toxins
Don't
is in
faint.
there
Sure.
just take it.
Wow, man.
Okay, then your water distillation, that is 2 bottles. At an angle, the one will be higher and the other one will have dirty water, and you put it in the sun and the 2 thingies must connect, and you sort of tie it close, and then distillation will happen, capillarization will happen. So because once again with the sun it will sweat and whatever, so the water, the dirty water that is in the one bottle will travel up along the edges of the bottle into the clean bottle, and that traveling process will distill and purify the water. Also with the sun.
Oh, we need to see that one.
Sure.
So that's also how you can
Yo,
dirty
yo.
water.
It's really cool, man.
or salt water, you can distill it in that way.
Oh.
And then catching rain, obviously that is the harvesting, rainwater harvesting. And a fog catcher is what they call making water out of nothing. So you take something like your orange bag, no? Something that has mesh-like fibers, right? And you put it on a screen, and then you have maybe cut a PVC pipe or a bottle or anything in half. You put it at the bottom of this orange bag, and then you leave it overnight or a few days or whatever. The fog, the mist, the whatever condensation happens will then be attached to those openings in the mesh. It will then start accumulating and drop down into the drip into the
Container.
PVC or whatever, and then the PVC will run into a bucket, and that's how you can literally make water out of nothing if there's no water anywhere. You just need outside openness. So this is also so over here you can see is the water filtration, the different levels that you need, and the water will come out pure. There's the solar distillation I was talking about with the dirty water that will then make clean water. And they've also just put just to keep cool, put the leaves over the water. And then this is the fog catcher thing that I was talking about. That you can just make wet wipes, toilet paper, throw in sanitizer or something, and you can wet wipe. And then that is the solar. So that's another example of something like this, but that's just in the outside. So if you don't have this and you're in the wild, this concept, you then just dig a hole, put a glass or something there, and then you put the plastic, but again you put a hole in the plastic that will then drip down clean water into the glass. And that is just a straw for drinking it out of the glass.
That little.
So this you can do at home, and then you can do that in the wild.
It's quite That's such a good idea.
There is moisture in the air itself.
Yes, there is
So
moisture.
we don't realize it because that is what our nose is not. The air is not dry. So there's always moisture. So you must just use the moisture that's in
And
the
in
air.
oxygen, there's water.
Yeah.
So it's just about finding ways to isolate
Yeah.
the water, or extract the water
The
out of
trees
the
around
oxygen
you
or
and
whatever.
plants
Two
around
parts
you
oxygen,
create that
H2O, yeah.
oxygen. Moisture is always around.
Yeah, you just need to find ways to harvest it.
To harvest the moisture, yeah. And then of course if there's succulent certain plants,
Yes,
you can also
certain
moisture.
plants.
with the
Yeah, so
moisture
then you do the
into
transpiration.
Yes,
We capture it in a packet already.
yeah.
Okay, then cold storage. You can do a charcoal lime shed. You can bury your food because the deeper you bury it, the colder the ground is, which is what they used to do back in the day. Yeah, you can use a garage or a shed in a cool place. Use that as a, because it also extends the life. You can use a Z pot. That is where you use a big, preferably a terracotta pot, and then you make a layer of, it's almost like you put two pots in each other, and the space between the two pots, you put either sand or stones or something that will keep it cool, and then you throw water in between the sands and the stone. And then the food you put in the middle pot. That you can keep food for quite a while. A mini little fridge situation.
so cool.
You can use
Then the
old,
moisture
yeah,
keeps in the sand.
yes, Yes.
Keeps it cool.
Because the
Doesn't-
terracotta
pots.
is what will keep the water cool. Because you can
Oh,
see
yes.
back in the middle
Yeah,
east, they use terracotta pots to keep the water cool.
Clean.
Because it has that.
We need to start buying terracotta pots.
Anybody want to? So any deep thing, whether it's a bucket or old fridge or whatever, you can use that. You just put it in a dark, cold place, and you can then put water around it or close to it or something, because the water will then keep with the coolness, keep it. Because the plan is to preserve the food for longer than if it's just standing out there. So there's different ways, but obviously the different ways will determine the extent of the longevity of the food. And then a root cellar, which is what they used to do back in the day also, where they dug out and they lined it out. You can either line it with bricks or whatever you want to. That will also keep things very cold. And then a charcoal fridge. This is, you can use a normal shed. Not shed, sorry, you can build a little construct of wood, and then that chicken mesh, you make 2 layers, and you put charcoal in between the layers. The charcoal keeps out the bacteria that makes the food spoil, and it keeps it cool.
Wow.
So that's what you can also.
Sure.
That's an interesting one.
That is how the zeer pot thing looks.
Okay.
Does that make sense now?
Yeah, that's cool.
And then it gives you like a shelf life type of thing of how long things can last.
Wow.
Up
4
to
days
20 days, depending on how big the pot is also.
Yes.
But obviously, the bigger the pot, the more can fit in there.
Yeah.
Smaller the...
With our ESCOM situation, you need it now.
Yeah, start buying your clay pots. Get some clay and make the pots.
Oh, that's a brilliant idea.
Okay, so then food. Different types of things that encapsulates the food. You get your food garden, so obviously you have to. The main thing is you must start your own veggie garden. You have to. Everybody has to. Whether it's in the ground or in pallets or
Vertical.
whatever, start something. You get aquaponics, you get hydroponics, you get your vertical garden. So there's different methods of doing this, but start something. You have to. You must. And then we also need to obviously teach them how to forage edible food. So that is also identifying what plants you can eat, what plants have nutrition, what weeds have nutrition, what weeds you can eat, like lamb's quarter is also a weed that grows everywhere. You can use that. It's very nutritional. You can make patties and things from it. You can use it as in the place of
Seasoning.
green veggies, like broccoli or whatever.
Lamb's quarter.
Yeah, lamb's quarter. Lamb's quarter has a bit of a furry feel to it. You can also use it as toilet paper because it's soft and it's not poisonous. So to wipe in case you don't have toilet paper. Then preservation. Fermentation is a very good source of preservation, and then canning and dehydrating and so forth. Then I spoke about the edible weeds, and then making flour from the plants that you have. So like I mentioned before, amaranth is a weed that grows in almost everybody's garden. You can harvest those little buds and make your own flour if you dry it out. And it's simple, you just dry out the kernel thingies, and you just, once it's dry, you can then just put it in a grinder first and then mash it until it's a powder form. Amaranth.
There's a picture of the lamb.
Thank you, Secretary.
It's very common. You just look. If you look
these weeds,
yeah.
it grows around you, but you
There
don't
are
know.
money.
You just see green stuff that's invading you.
Yeah.
But if you actually look and see and Google, you see a lot of these things are edible and very nutritious.
The cabbage thing there.
And like I said, acorns, you can dry acorns out and you can make, yeah, so the acorns, you first have to soak it in some water because it has like, I think some arsenic, small percentage or something. So you soak it in water like overnight and then you dry it out, dehydrate it, and then you can mash it and then make it into a powder form that you can, that is a survival food.
Yes.
Because
That's
acorns is
nasty.
very, and acorns is very healthy actually. So you can make flour, you can make,
Yeah, and I'm sure there's
So,
good some
but it doesn't
nutritional
taste
value to
nice
that.
though.
there's a lot of nutritional value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you need to
I put some of them out this morning.
process
Actually.
Acorns.
No of that.
Oh, really?
Mm.
Water?
Yeah, normal water.
To get that?
Well, I mean, if you add a little charcoal, it will be better.
Yes.
To grow out whatever. But, yeah, just like that.
So acorns are actually edible,
Yes.
but they don't taste nice. I tried.
That's what I'm questioning now.
And that's
It's almost like that apricot kernels.
Yeah, but that's
Oh.
probably the arsenic
Yes,
that
yes,
you
yes.
taste.
Oh.
So once
You get
it's
that
drawn out, then it's the same with aloe. Aloe you first have to soak to get the bitters out, and then what is left is what you can eat and drink.
Interesting.
Because if you drink aloe, that aloe juice,
Oh.
it doesn't
It
taste
doesn't.
bitter.
Ah,
It's like a
doesn't.
fleshy,
Yes.
nice thing.
Yeah.
That is what's left once you draw the bitters out.
Interesting.
So there's certain things that need processes before you
And you
can.
throw it out by,
So you can
so you can in the water, just in the water. You throw that water out, or you can use it for something
course.
else.
Just out on the plant.
I'm just thinking it might have some nutritional value that you're throwing away.
Yeah, you can throw it on the plants.
Plants, yes.
It's because it's not poisonous.
Mm.
It's just you don't want the bitter taste.
Yeah.
And then obviously stocking up on non-perishables. That's dry foods. Yeah, dry foods and tins and so forth. And then learning what trees you can actually sell. So pine trees, you can actually eat a lot of the pine tree. You can make pine tree sugar by sapping
Wow.
the tree. So pine trees is not only medicinal, but you can also eat it. The pine needles, you can also eat it. If
Pine
push comes to
needles?
shove, yes. If push comes to shove, but you obviously have to prepare it in a certain way. But yeah, there's options, but the pine tree is an amazing tree that you can eat a lot of the tree itself.
Wow.
And it grows quickly. That's nice.
Mm.
And then making your herb salts also. So that would be like any type of salt that, any type of herb that you have, whether it's rosemary or thyme or garlic or onion. So I grew onions, and the onion bulb itself takes long. The stalks grow very quickly, and the stalks have the same flavor as the onion. So you can cut the stalks off, and I dried it out, and I ground it into a powder and mix it with some Himalayan salt and onion powder. It was lovely. Cooked with it and everything.
Yeah.
So learn to use the little things. Nothing needs to go to waste. Lots of things can be reused, recycled, and so forth.
Wow.
So as you can see, there's like a lot of different avenues to delve into with every aspect of this urban survival concept. I'm just like briefly overviewing.
Same with salad. You can make your own salad yourself.
Yes,
Right,
exactly. Yeah. So one of the things I wanted to show, for example, is
Just you gotta see this.
I grew spinach and it was like not stopping.
Yes, they
Yeah.
cut
they
the
grow,
you cut and they grow.
Yeah. So I dried it out in a warmer and.
Just, 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 just.
So,
Just, 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 just.
yeah, so I dried it out in a warmer, and,
Just, 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 just.
and
you do it with a kale too?
Yes. This is now the spinach. No, this is the dandelion. Sorry, the wrong herbs. But anyway, I'll just show the concept because it's the same thing. Because the dandelion you use medicinally. So I dried out the spinach and you crush it. And then in a mortar or pestle mortar, how would you say? You can first put it in a grinder to break up most of it. But then when you finish, you just grind it into a powder form. And so the spinach, I dried the leaves out and then I grind it like this. And I also dried some mint and then I ground it up. And I made a powder and used it as chlorophyll because it is technically chlorophyll. And then you drink it and you consume it like you do spirulina or chlorophyll. Because chlorophyll I think costs like 300 or something.
Tell them what chlorophyll is and what is it good for?
So chlorophyll is the green part in the plant. That is very nutritious. Yeah, and that is filled with nutrients and energy and minerals. And so it helps with a lot of ailments. It boosts your energy as well. It boosts your immune system. It's food for the brain. It also helps with your systems in your body. All the different systems. It helps with that. It boosts your system process. It also helps at the cellular level. It helps with diabetes and it also increases your blood nutrient levels. So chlorophyll is like a real superfood because it really helps with a lot of problems.
Didn't you say as well for your eyes to improve your eyesight?
Yeah, it also improves your eyesight as well. Well, it helps.
Yes. Because carrots is there to improve your eyesight.
Yeah, because it's filled with a lot of nutrients and vitamin K as well and vitamin A, which you also need for your eyes. So then it becomes a powder like this.
Yes.
And then you just, and then
And you just add it to water.
No, you can take it like that. Yeah, so we take it as a teaspoon, and then you, if you want to,
Wash it down.
I don't wash it down with water. I just
chew it like because the mint flavor.
Yeah, the mint gives
Talk
it.
about the mint.
Yeah, the mint gives it a nice flavor, but
Yeah.
the chlorophyll doesn't taste like
It's green.
anything. Yeah,
Gives
it
the-
doesn't.
the color to
It's
it.
not like spirulina is a bit of a bitter taste, but chlorophyll doesn't from spinach. It doesn't. But the mint gives it a nice bit of a flavor, but it's extremely healthy.
So
And
it's
it's
an
good for
equal
your
amount.
skin.
Equal amount of
Mint.
No, you can just use 2 or 3 leaves, mint leaves, because you just want the
Taste.
just the little
the
hint
mint
of it.
actually, okay.
Yeah.
But the main thing is from the spinach.
Yes, the spinach. Because also when it's dehydrated in that format, the constitution of it changes. So during that constitution, it then transforms into a different thing. So it helps the body at a different stage compared to when you ingest it in the raw stage. It's the same with microgreens.
So Popeye
and-
took it the wrong way all the time. You could have had more advantages, you know.
That's the same effect like moringa.
It's better than moringa.
Yes.
Better
Yes,
than moringa.
it's, yeah.
Wow.
Chlorophyll is better because moringa is like half of what chlorophyll does.
Oh.
Because moringa also technically is chlorophyll.
Yes.
But just
yes.
in a, with the added benefits of what that plant specifically has.
It's called like moringa, just like that. You must think of your porridge or something.
Yeah, but chlorophyll you can consume as
Yeah, as is.
Was it bitter? I gave him some.
Not really.
Well, we got used to the taste and I just ate it as is. Now, yeah, so that you can also, this is good for your liver, dandelion, good for your liver, and boost your immune system, dandelion.
Basically, the green stuff doesn't really taste like that.
Dandelion is an amazing healing herb. So I make salve balms and I make a dandelion wound healing balm. And this one lady, she was in an accident and she had lots of cuts and scrapes and she put some of that on in like 2 or 3 days and it was gone. It's gone.
Yo.
It's gone.
So you
2 or 3 days.
dandelion, just the leaves of the dandelion,
Yes.
not the flower.
Look, the flower shrivels up anyway.
Yes.
And it becomes difficult to use
Okay.
when it's shriveled up.
Yes.
The flowers you would normally use as a tea, but the leaves itself you can dry it out and then use it in that format. And then the roots of dandelion you make coffee from. It's a caffeine alternative, but it's also extremely healthy.
Wow.
So you can also
I must
find
try- I think I've
dandelion
got dandelion.
coffee
What's coming up?
in
That'd
the
be
shops,
interesting,
but it's very
Yo, that's pretty
expensive.
cool.
So
It's very expensive and
Yeah.
it just grows everywhere.
Yeah, it goes everywhere. Dandelion is amazing. It's very, very good for liver problems. But it's good for a lot of things. But topically it's scars, wounds.
Scores.
So if I'm gonna make a salve,
Yeah.
then I would use a little bit of beeswax to
Yes.
solidify and
Okay.
coconut oil.
Okay.
Also, depending on what I wanted to do,
Mm.
then I would also add maybe some other things, like I put in some plantain, which also is plantain and centella. They're called like knit herbs, where they sort of just like draw the skin together type of thing.
Oh.
It really heals wounds amazingly. So then I put a little bit of that and some lavender and some tea tree, you know, to boost the whole healing. Yeah, so synergistically they work in
Wow.
symbiosis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a drop.
Just a drop.
Yeah.
When you say in 2 days the scars are gone.
Now the wound.
The wound.
The wound closed up.
At least
But
it's
that,
close enough.
I mean,
It's got healing
that's
properties.
fast.
Yeah.
That's
That
good.
is fast.
Yeah. And comfrey.
Oh, comfrey.
Yeah, comfrey
Yeah.
office, yeah.
Because comfrey can
Oh,
actually
that's
restore bones,
Yo. Wow.
grow back nails. Comfrey is very
Grow back nails.
Yes.
So for someone who lost a nail, you put on.
Yeah, but you need to start treatment immediately.
Wow.
So comfrey is called the knit stitch plant because it literally stitches you back together.
Wow.
Muscles, because it's a tissue reparative, regenerative plant. So it fuses, springs, heals,
Wow.
wounds, scars, all of that.
Basically,
It's just a bit difficult to grow, but comfrey is also amazing because it's an excellent plant fertilizer.
So it's basically when God speaks life, He will speak comfrey and then we'll come.
Comfrey, and you will. Yeah. Okay, so then the next section is your sewage. So I'm not going to go too big on that because this is more of an outdoor thing and you need like a technician of sorts because you know you need to either build a septic tank or have a compost pile or drop bucket system, anything with a hole type of concept. You can burn it, but that would also release fumes, which ultimately could be bad. And it also, because there's moisture in it, it needs to be dried out a lot before you burn it. Otherwise, it's not going to burn. And then there is like you can also use ash. So ash is amazing in that it's the same as it is charcoal. Just activated charcoal is made in a different way. But ash also absorbs bacteria, toxins and so forth. So if you sprinkle ash, you find yourself in a situation and you do a number 2, sprinkle ash over it because it will sort of kill the bacteria in there and it will, the odor, it will neutralize it.
Wow.
And so forth. So,
That's a good idea.
yeah, use ash. And there is a dry flush toilet that you can buy. It's like a commode type of thing. And then it has layers of foil and then you do it in a packet, but it's like on a toilet type of looking seat. And then you like just throw the bag away because the aluminum in the foil also sort of attacks the bacteria.
Oh. Wow.
Okay, so the toiletries. I spoke about ash that can be used for odor. Ash can also be used to absorb, and I only found this out this week. So ash can also be used for mold to absorb moisture and so forth, stagnant moisture and all of that. Used for odors, used to kill bacteria, and apparently can also assist with cockroach problem. But the problem is that ash is messy, dirty. So that is like you kind of have to decide, do you want the cockroach or do you want the dirt type of thing.
But you can smear it, can't you?
Oh, everything goes black.
Yeah,
For the cockroaches, I saw the other day you can use the bay leaves. Bay leaves in your cupboards, for not just cockroaches, for any insects that will come into your cupboards, food. Is there like mice and stuff? Bay leaves.
As in, you burn it?
No, you can just put the bay leaves in your cupboard like that. Somehow they contact the smell. And we think like bay leaves doesn't have. But when you put it in your certain food stuff, it does have it. So yeah, you just put it in your cupboard.
Okay, so then you can make DIY underarm. I've made that before. Your own toilet paper you can also make. I did mention.
Underarm now.
So underarm is basically just bicarbonate of soda mixed with coconut oil. But your measurements must be right. And then if you can get arrowroot, put some arrowroot in because that also
neutralizes odor.
Yeah, not odor, it attacks the bacteria that causes the odor. And it keeps with the dryness. And then you just add 1 or 2 drops of essential oils for fragrance. But that's basically, you can add some charcoal, but it's up to you. Because charcoal does go on the skin and it can dirty your clothes. It is kind of up to you what you want to do. And then plant as a soap. So this.
Think of black.
Black goes down in that charcoal.
These are plants that have saponification. So remember earlier I spoke about how the general concept of saponification happens. It's basically like this little bubble that engulfs the dirt, washes it away. So the fern, but you need to have quite a few, and also the roots. You boil it. It should then make like a soapy solution.
The root of the fern.
Yes. Now this is called the yucca plant. Most people have it, but they don't know that they have it. So this you can either scrape off the green and put it in water. Because I didn't have a lot of time because I'm really busy, I just chopped it up and squashed it a little and then I put it in the water. So this has been in water for how long? 3-4 days. Thursday. 2 days. And the soapiness has stayed.
Yes.
Yo.
So that soapiness indicates yucca. Why you double C A?
What is the normal word? Like
That's the normal yucca plant.
not that snake plant. What is that?
No. I'm going to get to the snake plant.
Oh.
So anyway, the yucca plant and the roots as well that you can use if you don't have detergent itself.
Oh, does it smell like it?
You don't expect the smell, you just want it to clean.
Yeah.
You don't smell Lux smell there.
And then
You're not gonna smell now
the
sunburn
Oh, yeah.
I've seen this one.
Is it?
Yeah,
Is it? Okay.
we did it at our church.
Okay. Is it a main? And I will put the button on.
No. Oh, get that one. This one, yeah. That one.
This, you must see this one. This is good.
When you're doing
Tuesday.
This is great.
Tuesday.
Thank you.
Just missing home, that's all.
Spoon.
Goed. No, hay fever.
A big
Ja, boos daar nie, hay fever nie. A lot of pollution, but no hay fever. But
Anyway,
ik byt
come
nog
back
vast
to
vir 6
Swartland.
maande. That's a good idea.
Okay, so I'm not
At
going
least
to
in
make
my
a
case.
lot. So what you will need is you will need bicarbonate of soda, you will need coconut oil and charcoal, and then you will need some peppermint oil, and if you have stevia or something to sweeten it a bit, and then cinnamon and clove. Cinnamon and clove because clove has antibacterial properties which really helps with tooth problems. So yeah, toothaches, whatever kills the bacteria that causes that type of thing. But it also sterilizes the mouth as well. And it's also has anesthetic properties somewhat. So it really helps with teeth, with dental hygiene, and then cinnamon also has antibacterial properties and so forth, which also help with teeth. You can also make a mouthwash with cinnamon and cloves.
Yo,
You
that's
just
a
take these,
wow.
yeah, you take bottled water or distilled water, and then you just add cinnamon, cloves in equal parts. And then if you want the sweetish taste, maybe just a little peppermint oil and tea tree oil. And then you just mix it, and there's your mouthwash. And it, like your teeth feel clean already after the mouthwash.
Yeah.
It really does, and it also neutralizes whatever odors is there and so forth. Okay, so I'm just gonna use a little. So you would need bicarbonate of soda. I'm just gonna take 1 small spoon.
Toothpaste actually has bicarbonate. Some of the toothpaste.
Yes, some of them.
Some of the toothpaste.
And then- And then the same amount of bicarb you take coconut oil, and then you can take the same amount of charcoal. And it whitens the teeth. I had a, what is it, an oral hygienist argue with me, saying it's,
Oh, I don't know.
it's the color,
Oh, yes, the color.
it's
Stains the
the black
Stain.
of the charcoal that it sort of gives you an illusion that the teeth is white. But
Aye.
it's not.
Brush your teeth with charcoal, you'll feel it for 2 days. Your teeth
Yeah,
will feel it. You know, for days you feel better.
Yes, because charcoal has purifying agents as well.
Exactly.
So a reason why you have
Yes.
like your teeth is yellow, whatever. Firstly, it could be your DNA, but second, mainly, it's because of our diets and the staining of the teeth. And because charcoal absorbs toxins and stains and everything, it draws it out. So over time, it gets a bit white, and that's how it works.
Oh, I've always said it adsorbs, not absorbs.
Yes,
Adsorbs.
that's a very important part.
Yeah.
Adsorb means
It links.
absorb is like, okay, so absorb would be, this is the thing, and then it would absorb the water until it's full. So once it's full, it can't absorb anymore. But adsorb is like sellotape. So all the stuff sticks on there. But charcoal has, as the shape of charcoal, 1 grain is like prism shape, but it's got thousands and millions and trillions of facets of the prism, just one. So all those surfaces adsorb, so all the toxins and everything sticks onto the different prisms of that. That's why it can never get full because it's got so many facets to it, and it just keeps on sticking with toxins and all of that stuff on there and takes it out, flushes it out. But it's also the electronic balance. So in your gut, if you're going to take charcoal, if you have a tummy bug or something, it will only absorb the negative, the bad bacteria,
That's
not your good.
That's what you want.
Yes. So it only absorbs the bad stuff. And then you put some, can you see? Few drops, maybe like 10
Drops of what is that?
peppermint.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just gonna put one.
Can you put fresh
stick.
peppermint also in there?
Um,
If you find it grimy, very fine.
you can, but it won't be as effective because essential oil is more concentrated.
It's
Okay.
very concentrated because it's got all that.
Okay, 100%. No, that's good.
It's so concentrated you can't use it directly on your skin.
Very strong.
Is it?
Yes.
Did what
Because
happened?
it can cause liver problems if you.
Yo.
So whenever you use essential oils, you have to use it with carrier oil. Although peppermint oil and tea tree oil are the two that you can apply on the skin. Peppermint oil, but not a lot. So if you have a headache, you can put peppermint oil by the temples and so forth. It should then help with your headache. But you can't put a lot because it will also burn your skin. So I put too much essential oils in my underarm and it burnt my skin.
Yo.
So, but it doesn't just burn your skin, it affects your liver.
Because
So
the
you-
liver goes through the liver, it is supposed to
It's
intoxicate the
Yes,
filter
toxins,
almost.
yes.
Yeah.
So, and then you just mix everything together.
Okay.
And we sometimes use the charcoal toothpaste and your teeth
Yeah, I
feel
wanna see.
so amazingly clean, like really. It's dirty, it's messy,
Yeah.
but yeah. You get two types. You get charcoal, you get charcoal toothpaste powder, and then you get like the paste. So the more coconut, you can add more coconut oil in, but I'm not gonna do that now.
Yeah.
But you can use
Not
this
water,
as
it's
is, you know.
It's not water.
No.
So you must just use the coconut.
You put it in ice cream also.
And then you just mix it all the way through until it's
Okay, it's smooth and
yeah. So it depends on the consistency that you want. Because oil, this also acts as an oil pulling agent when it's in the toothpaste itself. Because oil pulling gives your overall general health because it absorbs all the toxins in the body through the salivary glands. It also then sends signals down to your gut, so then it creates gut health. It stabilizes your gut flora,
yeah.
and the bad toxins that then through your lymphatic system, because you have outlets here, then comes into your mouth, and then it's also pulled out through the oil pulling from the coconut oil. So it's very healthy for your mental stimulation as well, because serotonin is made in your gut health, in your flora, in your tummy, and then it goes up to the brain. So that's why gut health is important for mental health.
Yo.
So yeah, and then you can use it like this, and you put this on your toothpaste, and then you just brush your teeth,
Okay.
and your teeth feels cleaner and it stays cleaner for longer.
There's a rubber
You
plant.
can if you want to, but you want to get it into all the
Yeah,
nooks and
yes, I
crannies and
understand.
fresh
You go for a
so I don't know if you want to keep this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
no,
must
no,
keep
for
it, you
sure.
must keep it.
Okay.
No, for
Are
sure.
you happy with that?
So, so you say I just take two glasses, cover it. Yeah, I think first apply, put it here and then
No. Just put it on your toothbrush and you brush.
No. without water.
You can add a little bit if you want, but it's not going to do anything because the oil in the mouth.
Okay.
in the mouth.
No, I just want
So
to.
then that gets everything going
100%.
in your
Thank you so much.
You must try it.
Yeah, must
I'm
put
not going to use a chalk.
Okay, so I know this is long. I'm going to be finished soon.
You can take a break.
Now, let me just, I'm almost finished.
Is it?
Okay, so that's just a picture of the yucca leaves, which, and here they scraped off the top of the leaf. And they put it in the water, and as you can see, there's the soapiness. And this is the crushed leaf, soapiness, same thing.
So how long do you keep it in the container?
Oh, how long can you keep it?
I don't know, I'm experimenting with how long, but it's been 2-3 days now. And it's still in the same bubbles as before. So, obviously then you would do your medicine, so your foraging of your herbs, which means you go and you see which herbs in your garden you can use as a medicine. Because lots of herbs have dualistic action, medicinal and culinary. Your first aid kit, this is a workshop. Each of these are workshops on their own. So your first aid kit is using what is in your kitchen as first aid devices. So your potato you use as a poultice for whatever tissue ailment. So if you have inflammation or whatever, you use it for that. Ginger you would use to draw out pains in the joints and so forth. Cayenne pepper you would use as a blood stimulant. So if your blood is too thick, it would thin it. If it's too thin, it would thicken it. If you have a cut, like I mentioned before, you sprinkle on, it will then coagulate.
Even works with sinuses.
Yeah. So if you also have, if you're feeling you're getting a heart attack or a stroke, simply drink some cayenne pepper. So one of the ladies from our church, she came to my workshop and she remembered what I said. And her mother was starting to have a heart attack. And then she remembered what I said and she put some cayenne pepper under the tongue because under the tongue is the quickest way into the bloodstream.
Sure.
And then 5 minutes later, her mother was fine.
Wow.
And then the doctor said yes, she was busy having a heart attack, but whatever they did saved her. So it really does work. Hello.
Jessica, I was asking for Connor's baby bag and something short for him to pick up.
Okay, so kitchen medicine, same concept, using like your herbs and stuff in your kitchen to heal. And then charcoal, I just explained the charcoal and I showed the, well, it should have been the chlorophyll experiment. I was gonna do an onion experiment, but I'll just tell you. So onion is a drawer. So if you have an infection or anything, when you use onion, you can slice it up, put it under your feet, and put a sock over it, and overnight it will draw out your cold, flu, or whatever infection you have.
It even helps with pain also.
Yes, it also helps with pain. I had an ear infection, and vertigo and stuff. Took half an onion, put it in the microwave, the hot juice I squeezed out, put it in my ear, and put cotton wool, and like 1 or 2 days and the infection was gone, the pain was gone, the dizziness was gone. So it really works. Also, if you have chest infections or coughs or anything, you chop up the onion, you warm it in the microwave and you put it in a cloth and you put it on your chest. This will draw out and break up the mucus and so forth and draw out the infection. When my uncle had COVID, I did that with his chest, with his cough, and it really helped him a lot. And you can reheat the same onion up to 2 days in the microwave. Same onion. So that is also ready. And you can make cough mixture as well. So you just slice it up and layer it with honey, layer of onion, layer of honey, layer of onion. And it takes your coffee out. It doesn't taste so liquor.
I use that for
It doesn't need to be thick. Just a thin layer of each. And then you let it stand, it will start making a little liquid.
Yeah.
That liquid is what you drink. And that liquid can last up to a year in the fridge.
Yeah.
Well, because
Oh, because of
honey.
the onion, the honey is a
Yes.
preservative.
Preserves it, yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so the equipment, I don't know much about this, but basically it would cover the DIY washing machine. There's different ways to do this. You can use a plunger in a bucket, water, soap and whatever, and you just plunge, and that action will then cause, it's the same action as a washing machine.
Wow.
There's another way you can do it. I think it's but I don't know, the mechanics are liquor, but you can make a pedal plunger also.
In the olden days, old people used to throw it in the bath or bathtub, and with the water and with the washing, or with the green soap, with the green sunlight soap, you can wash it, and then they stepped on it. That's what they do. Yeah.
Firstly, do you have a bath in times of trouble? Secondly, do you want to extend all that energy?
Yeah. Now I'm just saying, based on the same concept as you said of plunging.
Yes.
So I understand. I can relate to what you're saying. So if you have a small bucket or what's a device, you can put away and then you do the same. Yeah.
Okay. And then, okay, so this is the one thing that I wanted to show. You can make rope from snake plant. So this, I just cut off a piece of snake plant, and then you sort of just with anything flat and hard, whether it's the back of a knife or a credit card or something, you then just work the green away until you see these fibers. And these fibers make very strong rope. So you then take these fibers and you twist it into a rope formation, and you can use that as an emergency rope.
Wow.
That's the snake plant. And
The
obviously
snake
the
plant.
snake plant also oxygenates the room. And so forth.
And you find it in many places.
Yeah.
Is that?
Everybody's garden has, and most gardens have snake plant.
Wow.
And then you can make DIY knives. Oh, sewing. So the edge of an aloe, that hard part, that needle part, you break that off, you put make a little hole in it, and you put thread through it. You can use it as a needle for emergencies.
Oh, that's hard. Yeah. And even if it's like,
Now I couldn't find an edge long enough. Yeah, of the big leaves. So those sharp edges that you can add on. And a solid dehydrating can also make. So it's like little things like this that you need to be aware of for emergencies, because you need to sew. It's always an emergency.
So you take that and you use some kind of cotton.
Yeah. Or you can take off the snake plant, a thread there,
Sure, this is cool.
and put it in the.
We grew up with plants like this. In all your aunties or people's, never I thought,
There's a mother-in-law that we call.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then lost tongue.
That's the other name. So you make rope from there. Snake plant.
That is the most popular name.
And so that's just an example of how you can make a knife using the edges of the tin.
Yes.
And there's the washing machine things.
There's a stain.
And that's just a tint example that you can
Wow.
makeshift tint. And then I think we kind of covered this. Basically, we need to cover how to sharpen equipment, how to deal with security, how to deal with shelter, how to make a shower camp, a sundial. You can also use your hands as a sundial. And glue you can also make from ash, actually.
Sure.
And your blood bubble basically is the area around you. So if you're working with a knife, a sharp knife, the area that the edge of the knife will extend to will be your blood bubble. So you need to be very careful with your blood bubble, because you don't want to cut yourself in that area is where you can harm yourself. So you need to be very careful and learn different techniques in protecting yourself in your blood barrier, your blood bubble, sorry. There's the edge of the aloe needle that you can use as a sewing needle.
Yeah.
And this is just a solid dehydrator. And then your bugger bag would need all these different things. But obviously depending on how big your bugger bag is. And that's it in a nutshell. I know it's a lot, but yeah, that was basically as far as I got with everything that I feel just for urban survival needs to be covered. Then there's still the other sections. Yeah, so there's a lot of work. It's a lot of information that people need to learn that I feel is very important. But as you've learned now today, these are skills that you have to know for whatever emergency.
Wow, no, that is